Today, we bring you the most pressing global updates. Among the leading headlines, Israel has demanded the release of all Gaza hostages, raising uncertainty over a proposed ceasefire. Stay with us as we break down this and other key developments shaping the world today. Israel is demanding the release of all 50 hostages held in Gaza, an Israeli official has said, casting doubt on whether it will accept a new proposal for a 60-day ceasefire that Hamas agreed to on Monday. The proposal, put forward by Qatar and Egypt, would see the release of around half the hostages and is almost identical to a U.S. proposal Israel had previously accepted, according to Qatar. Israel has not explicitly rejected it, but Israeli government spokesman David Mincer told the BBC that it is not interested in partial deals. Things have changed now. The Prime Minister has laid out a plan for the future of Gaza, Mincer said. Palestinian sources said the proposal would see 10 living and 18 dead hostages handed over, while the sides negotiated a permanent ceasefire and the return of the other hostages. Israel believes that only 20 of the 50 hostages are still alive after 22 months of war. Later this week, the Israeli cabinet is expected to approve the military's plan to occupy Gaza City, where intensifying Israeli strikes have already prompted thousands of people to flee. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced Israel's intention to conquer all of Gaza, including the areas where most of its 2.1 million Palestinian residents have sought refuge after indirect talks with Hamas on a ceasefire deal broke down last month. On Monday night, a Hamas statement announced that the armed group and other Palestinian factions had approved a ceasefire proposal presented by Egyptian and Qatari mediators to their delegations in Cairo the previous day. Hamas official Taher al-Nunu told Al Arabi TV that they had not sought any amendments to the proposal, which he described as a partial deal leading to a comprehensive deal. He also emphasized that on the first day of its implementation, negotiations would begin with the aim of agreeing a permanent ceasefire. Qatar's foreign ministry spokesman, Majid al-Ansari, told reporters in Doha on Tuesday that the proposal was 98% similar to the one presented by U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff in June. It is within the confines of the Witkoff plan. It's a continuation of that process. Obviously, it's in the details where the devil lies, Ansari said. Witkoff proposed a 60-day truce that would see Hamas release 10 living hostages and the bodies of 18 dead hostages on days 1 and 7, in exchange for 125 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences in Israeli jails, 1,111 detainees from Gaza, and the bodies of 180 Gazans. Israel accepted Witkoff's plan, but Hamas rejected it, partly because it did not include a guarantee that the temporary ceasefire would lead to a permanent one. A Palestinian official told the BBC that the Egyptian and Qatari proposal would see Hamas release 8 living hostages on day 1 and 2 more on day 50. 5 dead hostages would be handed over on day 7, 5 more on day 30, and another 8 on day 60. In return, Israel would release 1,500 detainees from Gaza as well as 150 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences and 50 others serving terms longer than 15 years, the official said. Israeli forces would also withdraw to areas of Gaza located between 800 m and 1.2 kilometers, 0.5 to 0.75 miles, from the perimeter with Israel during the truce, but would remain stationed in the Morag and Philadelphia military corridors in the south of the territory, the official added. On Tuesday afternoon, an Egyptian source familiar with the negotiations told the BBC that the mediators had not yet received a formal response from Israel to the new proposal. However, the official in Prime Minister Netanyahu's office told Israeli journalists, Israel's policy remains consistent and unchanged. Israel demands the release of all 50 hostages in accordance with the principles set by the cabinet to end the war. We are in the final stage of defeating Hamas and will not leave any hostage behind. Although the statement was not an explicit rejection of the proposal, it does suggest that Israel may want to negotiate further. On Saturday night, Prime Minister Netanyahu's office put out a similar statement saying that Israel would only agree to a deal on condition that all the hostages are released in one go, and that the conditions for ending the war included the disarming of Hamas, the demilitarization of Gaza, Israeli control of the Gaza perimeter, and the installation of non-Hamas and non-Palestinian Authority governance. Netanyahu said in a video on Monday that he had discussed with senior Israeli military commanders their plans regarding Gaza City and the completion of our missions. Like you, I hear the reports in the media, and from them, you can get one impression: Hamas is under immense pressure, he added. The Prime Minister himself faces pressure from his far-right coalition partners, who want to keep the war going until Hamas's defeat and then annex Gaza. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said Israel must not accept a partial deal that abandons half of the hostages, and that could lead to the suspension of the war and defeat. It is forbidden to surrender and give a lifeline to the enemy, he added. Hostages' families and a majority of the Israeli public meanwhile want Netanyahu to agree a deal with Hamas to end the war now and bring all the hostages home. About a month ago, we were closer than ever to signing a deal. The Witkoff outline would have put Israel into intensive negotiations. Einav Zangoker, whose 25-year-old son Matan is believed to be among those still alive in captivity, told Israeli public broadcaster Kan. Netanyahu is deliberately setting unworkable conditions as an obstacle, she warned. The Israeli military launched a campaign in Gaza in response to the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on October 7, 2023, in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage. At least 62,064 people have been killed in Gaza since then, according to the territory's Hamas-run health ministry. Most of Gaza's population has also been displaced multiple times. More than 90% of homes are estimated to be damaged or destroyed. The healthcare, water, sanitation, and hygiene systems have collapsed, and UN-backed global food security experts have warned that the worst-case scenario of famine is currently playing out due to food shortages.